The jury, the panel of 10 architects, was given an independent session to go through the different entries, after which they decided to make their own decisions, and they brought those decisions together. We went through each one of those decisions, dissected it, discussed it, and came to an agreement about each category, each win of each category.
We had many entries that were remarkably good. They were really well resolved architectural ideas, very well detailed and well executed projects. And it took us a lot of time, a lot of discussions, arguments to arrive at the winners.
So there are different kinds of buildings. It's not necessarily what we say criteria, but it is in the different categories you have invites these applications.
We had a fair amount of agreement about what we are planning to choose. This is about how architecture has to progress in this country and this part of the world.
JK Architect of the Year Award is India's most reputed and celebrated awards for the fraternity of architects. Consistently for the last 3 decades, it recognizes the excellence in the field of architecture and design. For many professionals or even practicing architects, recognition by the fraternity or the society is one of the biggest awards. JK Award is one such recognition every architect of the country looks forward to every year.
It was a very tough to take a decision because design is quite subjective. I focused, as a jury member, I focused on primarily 2 things. Number 1 was what is the contextual relevance of the design, and secondly, what is the aesthetic longevity of the design with regards to site, with regards to climate and topology.
All the projects needed to stand out from an architectural point of view, but definitely we look at sustainability, social context response.
We have to follow the correct guidelines, and also we have to have a proper technical evaluation. Then we'll have to think of the presentation techniques.
During the jury process, that looking at our climate change, carbon footprint, that we were very conscious of choosing the right winners who were more wholesome in their approach.
It's not criteria, the process itself. It's a long, lengthy process and a detailed one, which helps to select the winners. And the process is very transparent.
The 𝐤𝐭 winners was based upon the design ability. It is up to the local material have been used, sustainability, cost effectiveness, and it is up to the satisfaction of the client also.
Well, you see, each jury member was given the liberty to first go through the entries on their own thoroughly, and then that was what was brought together to discuss. So whatever each jury member presented, that is what was discussed as a group.
The awards have literally become a depository of projects of contemporary Indian modern architecture, and I think which is again a very unique achievement as far as JK Awards are concerned. On top of that, the jury process is not a very easy one. I mean, intensity of conversation and the debate sometimes can be quite stressful because each jury member really tries to convince the rest of the group about certain validity of selection of a particular entry. But at the same time, the jury as a whole is very conscious about the fact that by selecting a particular entry, we are also sending out a huge message to the society, to the fraternity, including to the international fora. So in that sense, it's very important that the jury is very transparent, it is very inclusive, and it accommodates all the different viewpoints of the jury members.
There is a huge jury panel of about 10 people, and so 10 of us, when we are judging together, it means that there's a certain consensus which builds up and which doesn't allow for any favoritism to happen.
First thing was anonymity. Like we just ensured that no names and symbols were present in the display sheets, design sheets, so that no jury would come to know who is the participant.
The juries had opportunity to push forward their views, and also it was a democratic process of how voting was done and majority votes were allocated to winners?
There is 100% fairness and evaluation in the process, because every individual has given the marks, or has not even given the marks, the criteria has been fixed. We are ranking them into 1, 2, 3, 4. Then at the end of the day, a computerized sheet was produced. We give the maximum number to the winner, and then it was discussed on the screen. If it was not up to the satisfaction of the others, the other one was dropped, and even then the last one was also selected and discussed with the whole jury. And after the deliberations and all, the jury.
This is where the detailing is very important in a building. How the building is going to age depends on how we detail various aspects. So how the water falls away from the building. It's not just about the design or the looks. It's about how over a period of time, what is the maintenance cost that's going to be part of that building, which is also very important. One has to think it in advance.
Winning project should be up to the satisfaction of the client, to environment, to every budget. Even the budget is very important for the projects.
The process of jury is very transparent and inclusive. Jury is a right balance of representing academicians, designers, and practicing architects. All jury members actively engage in discussion and put forward their distinct and very unbiased opinion openly in the forum. And to further ensure fairness and impartiality, we have jury members who represent different regions of the country. We have jury members who come from our neighboring countries and from Africa region. The process of selection is very intense. In fact, very, I would say, engaging and very informative even for the jury members. Jury always looks forward to some interesting and innovative concepts as one of the criteria for selecting the winning entries.
Special consideration was for green aspects as well, but also really standing out from different projects, but also a lot of projects had similarities. Even a category, we didn't award a winner because it didn't stand out.
We find that younger architects are far more bold and experimental in their approach, which is a very healthy sign. The second thing that I observed is there's a lot of concern for sustainability, resource use, energy, and that seems to be something that cuts across all the categories, that a lot of architects are trying to make their buildings work with the environment.
Basically, we always would like to see excellence in architecture. It's very difficult to understand, but easy to experience. So basically, it's like how you approach to the project, how you come to a concept, how you select a particular space, how you select your material, how to come out a good composition or a form, and how to shape the building. So these are the things that we want to look into.
When you're not there, your project has to speak, because you're not there to explain it. Meaning we need to know, are you solving a problem? Is your project speaking to our context, the environment in which it's in? Is the detail enough and sufficient for it to speak the language you're trying to communicate? Is it environmentally friendly? Is it sustainable? Is it looking at materials that are going to, get back into the environment? Is it speaking to the community? So, we had a lot of things we're looking at, but those were the main things that we're looking at.
In a nutshell, these projects which we have chosen to a certain way represent what Indian architecture is coming out in these last 70-75 years. So our projects, or the projects we have chosen, to a certain extent indicate the kind of architecture which India is producing right now. It was a very interesting selection process. Like the way we were made to shortlist the projects, then we were sequestered in a room and we were asked to talk about why we selected a certain project or why we did not select a certain shortlist. And that became a very interesting way of going about selecting a final winner.
Many of the entries also try to address issues which our nation and society is facing today, like issues of housing for the poor, re-looking at some of the urban open spaces, sustainability, we are talking about global warming, and also sometimes how to promote and preserve our traditional vernacular architecture of this country.
And after the end of the day, the next day we came to know that how many votes have been given to which person, which entry. So based upon that, the discussions were held.
This is the 33rd, which means 33 years. It's a kind of a nation building record. So when you look at different criteria and categories, there is a good sampling of best in the industry which is coming together. And j.k. Cement is really taking efforts to not only just hold these awards but also to be the curator, and they are publishing these winning entries. So it is in a parallel, we are also creating an archive for future.
I have noticed that amongst the Architects Fraternity of India, there is a huge interest and enthusiasm to participate in j.k. Awards. j.k. Awards have built a formidable reputation of practicing higher standards of competitive ethics, of a transparent and honest process of shortlisting, selecting and awarding recognition to the works of architects from this country. Also in the recent years, j.k. Award has extended its scope to neighboring countries and to some countries of Africa region. This gives an opportunity to the architects from these countries to participate and share their projects, share their thoughts and ideas with architects of India. It's a huge platform for them, and probably j.k. Awards is the only such award from India which recognizes excellence in architecture and design from neighboring countries and from Africa region.
This award will definitely motivate young architects to be more creative, more innovative, and this 𝐰𝐰𝐰 Awards has already set a very high standard. So they have to live up to this standard.
You find many winners or many good entries coming from smaller towns of the country, and that also just goes to show how well knit the architectural community is. So all in all, we had the privilege to look at some of the best works.
These awards are a way of recognizing people who are doing better, encouraging people who are not yet there to actually think about getting there, meaning that it's challenging the designers in the industry.
Young architects must be inspired to participate and do great architectural work. Also, it will help them in their portfolio.
These are the most innovative initiatives which they are doing for more than 33 years. It's going to impact in a great way.
Be very thorough about how you have approached, and very concise about expressing that intention onto the paper. So writing skill is as important as the design part. Second is to present it in a very simple way, need not make it complicated. We think complicated is good. No, complicated means there is less clarity, and to simplify means you have to put in a lot more work. So don't try to fudge, don't try to make it look more than what it is, because eventually we're gonna spend the time and get to know the crux of it.
I would definitely like to encourage the young budding architects, enterprising architects to participate in such initiatives, because such initiatives gives them a platform to share their creative ideas, share their knowledge, showcase their projects, get inspired by the senior architects who participate and showcase their projects in these awards. And what else? I mean, this is a perfect platform. You are going to become part of a celebrity designer community.
So it means that we are going to start thinking a little more beyond the next person or the neighbor. What has this person done that I can do better? And that is the reason in the first place that you'd feel confident to enter a competition, because you believe you have done the usual, put it to better use, or you've actually come up and invented new ways of doing something to solve a particular problem in construction.
It was a privilege, it was a huge learning lesson for us, and seriously I feel honored to be part of this whole process, and honored to be invited to be jury members for the 33rd JK Award for Architect of the Year.
Yeah, it was a great experience for me. Initially, the jury meeting was held at Madurai. Being I am the current chairperson for Madurai Center, I was coordinating with them for almost a year regarding this process, and the jury meeting held for more than 2 days. A lot of healthy discussions, debates, and the most important thing was all the design sheets were displayed for all the architects in Madurai, students in Madurai, which we had a great exposure to the younger generations.
Award ceremonies are always accompanied by an exhibition of the entries that come for the awards. And these exhibitions are open to the people of the city, to the local architects, and to the students of architecture of that city. Another fact is that each year the jury and the ceremony award is held in one different city of the country, or sometimes even in neighboring countries. That way it is widening the scope of outreach and promoting the cause of good design, which is, in my opinion, is a phenomenal achievement.
Yeah, it is a wonderful experience. This is for the first time that I have been a part of this type of jury.
It's been a really great experience judging this award, and moreover so because of the organizing team which is involved in these awards, the kind of attention to detail which they have paid in order to see that this whole process happens in this impartial way is magnificent and is stupendous.
I'm an African amongst Indians, and I was learning so much. First of all, they were very loving people, I must say. Secondly, I realized that they all had, from the different areas they were coming from, they all had different cultures from the way they were giving feedback to the different projects, which is the same thing back home. Designers or architects, we design according to the context, the environment, the weather, the culture and tradition. I realized the same. So it got my eyes open to how each of these people were actually responding to the projects. It was fun overall. It was very informative. I was seated with the very brightest minds. So you can imagine I was challenged myself as a jury member because each of those projects was being well dissected, but everyone had a different angle to that project. So that was my experience. It was awesome.